With America's 250th birthday just around the corner, I thought it would be a good time to answer the question, what was the American Revolution all about? Because to understand America, you really do need to understand the principles upon which it was founded. So, what are these principles? They are beliefs rooted in natural law, an unwritten and unchanging higher law that preceded any human-made statute. The 17th century philosophical movement known as the Enlightenment held that natural law was knowable to anyone through their ability to reason. However, Christianity also had a long natural law tradition, dating back centuries from the Apostle Paul to St. Augustine to Thomas Aquinas. And it recognized a natural law which was written in the heart and authored by God, something like your conscience. Therefore, in describing natural law as the laws of nature and of nature's God in the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson was effectively uniting two streams of thought, secular and religious. Furthermore, the founding fathers believed that you could derive certain principles from natural law, which were eternal truths and relevant to all people and all times. For example, from the theory of natural law, it followed that human beings possessed a basic natural equality because they all had a common creator. Therefore, they also had certain equal natural rights, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That meant no one could govern another without their consent. Humanity was not naturally divided into those who rule and those who are ruled. Neither was anyone by nature a master or a slave, because people owned themselves. Furthermore, all had a duty to respect the rights of others. From this principle, it could be reasoned that people had the right to choose what kind of government they wanted to protect their God-given natural rights. In effect, the citizens made a contract with their government to give up a portion of their freedom to their rulers in exchange for this protection. However, if the rulers failed to live up to their end of the contract, then the people had the right to change or discard their government. To put it another way, under certain circumstances, the people possessed the right to revolution, an exceedingly bold claim in a world then dominated by kings, queens, emperors, and sultans. Nevertheless, that is exactly what our founding fathers did with the Declaration of Independence. They accused King George III of breaking his contract with the people. And so they formed a new one, the Constitution, only this time creating not a monarchy, but a republic. However, prior to the birth of America, this was all merely a theoretical argument put forth by political philosophers such as Englishman John Locke to explain the origin and purpose of good government. No country had ever been created by explicitly stating these ideas. Other countries had formed on the basis of a shared race, ethnicity, religion, or language, but never before had a nation declared that its citizenry would also be united by a belief that everyone possessed God-given natural rights simply because they were human beings. As American political philosopher Leo Strauss explained, this insistence on rights being natural, rooted in our very nature, was essential because without it, we would be at the mercy of governments, rulers, or perhaps a majority vote to determine what rights we have. Now, I want to be very clear. I am not suggesting that in 1776, a perfect nation or society had been created. At that time, the United States of America was still just an experiment. A large, self-governing republic based upon natural rights was something never before attempted that would require the founding generation to set an example and generations thereafter to maintain through constant striving and testing. Fortunately, the founding fathers did set an example worthy of admiration, not just through their words, but also through their deeds. As Abraham Lincoln would later explain, when the founding fathers declared that all were created equal in possessing certain unalienable rights like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, they meant it. However, Lincoln did not say that the founders claimed that everyone everywhere was living in a state of perfect equality in 1776. As our 16th president put it, they did not mean to assert the obvious untruth that all were then actually enjoying that equality, nor yet that they were about to confer it immediately upon them. In fact, they had no power to confer such a boon. They meant simply to declare the right so that the enforcement of it might follow as fast as circumstances should permit. What the founders had done, said Lincoln, was set up a standard maxim for free society that would never be perfectly met, but which would be constantly strived for to expand the happiness and value of life to all people of all colors everywhere. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and follow my Facebook page or subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.